Welcome to the Show Me the Shift podcast with Coach Lenora, certified life coach, HR certified professional, international best-selling author, and creator of the Victorious Movement. A members-only community where she coaches her members from stuck to action and from scarcity to abundance in the areas of mindset, goal setting, and monetization online. The Show Me the Shift podcast was created to encourage future entrepreneurs that they can step boldly into their purpose by hearing the stories of others who have paved the way. Here is our host, Coach Lenora.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining the Show Me the Shift podcast today. And I'm really excited. I have a dear friend with me, Aaron Smith, who we'll be talking to in just a moment. And I'm going to go ahead and read his bio. He has done so much in his short 25 years on this earth. And so he's just a phenomenal person. He has such great insights and information that he shares. And so I'm going to go ahead, read his bio, and then we'll go ahead and get started. So Aaron Smith is a graphic designer that is passionate about personal development. He has studied with many elite coaches like the Ella Vitality's Master Your Mind group. He is trained with Napoleon Hill Institute, the Can You Really Think and Grow Rich, as well as Momentum Mastermind group. And in expanding his skills, he has multiple digital products to include self-help books on Amazon. He has accessories on Pixels, and he's recently developed a clothing line called Infinite Abundance. Aaron is a graphic designer, a poet, and he also hosts his own podcast in which he had me as a guest, and that is For Us to Elevate. And so without further ado, let's invite Aaron to the stage. Hello, Aaron. How are you?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well, doing well. Thank you so much for joining me today and being a part of the podcast. And so I am really excited to just find out a little bit more. We've known each other for a little over a year.
Yeah.
Virtually, I will say. And so, but I was thinking about it and I said, gosh, I know Aaron is an entrepreneur, but I don't know how his entrepreneurial journey actually started, like from the inception of when you just decided, okay, this is the first thing that I'm going to do as an entrepreneur. So can you walk us through what that was?
Well, pretty much. Growing up, huge sports fan, so athletics was the first thing in mind. Basketball, sometimes football. I would switch it up every now and then. But I mainly was focused on athletics. Backup plan was graphic designs, but I really wasn't diving deep into graphic designs. I would tap in a little bit there. I started taking it a little bit more serious in high school. Now, I always liked it art. I was always a person that liked it, like cool styles and fashion or whatever. But it wasn't until like after I graduated and I just started looking and saying, okay, what's the direction that I want to go? What do I want to build?
Mm,
And just something I wasn't really reflecting on. I believe I should have took it serious a little bit earlier. And I start, just probably like doing freelancer stuff. Um, and then I thought about it. I said, you know what? I'm doing logos because that's what I started with, really, just doing logos. I could do presentations like PowerPoint doing logos, but then I thought about it, I said, what do I really vision myself doing in graphic design? And at that point in my life, learning about myself, on a deeper level, spiritually, emotionally, physically, just really trying to find your purpose, and I said, you know what? I really need to get clear on what I want to do because I can see myself doing this, but I'm not sure I'm gonna be that much fulfilled. And it wasn't until I really started tying graphic design into personal development where it kind of came all together. And I said, I'm gonna create designs and images that represent my mindset, what represents the way that I want to build a world. And it's still the help of, like I said, family, friends, support, and also, like I said, studying with those elite coaching groups, those mastermind groups, where I started saying, wait a minute, I can start using my imagination to bring these wonderful ideas into life. So being surrounded, by the right people kind of helped me say, you know what, let me create something new and original. So it kind of helped me bring out more of my creativity and saying, okay, I think I really feel in alignment with the direction that I'm going now. Like I don't feel like I'm just endlessly wandering. Like I have a goal, I have something to really, really excite me, but also help other people as well because growing up not so much in a favorable environment. I know a lot of people can attest to that. You have a bigger vision greater than your challenges and circumstances. And a lot of people saying, okay, how can I find a way out of this? How do I not give up or conform to the patterns that everyone else is conforming to and staying in the same cycling pattern? And so that's something that I was even questioning myself. And so that's why I started, sharing more motivational speeches, but also tying it to my graphic designs and poetry. And so as I'm learning about myself, tapping into what's more authentic to me, that's when I started being more on the digital space as well. When I, had the chance to do that and just share with people, and I connected with many amazing people like yourself.
That's awesome. And so, yeah, you've already shared so many amazing things. Now, you had mentioned being a part of some different groups that you had found out about. And I mean, I know one of the things that I'm always amazed with you is that, when I met you, you were 24, now you're 25. A lot of people need to take until like their 30s in order for them to like, oh, I want to start feeding myself and getting more information into myself and growing and developing and realizing self-help and things of that nature. But you started early. So what piqued your interest about those types of groups like Napoleon Hill Institute, the Mastering Your Mind group, things of that nature? But what about self-help and development really piqued your interest and made you say, that's a path I want to go down to and pour into myself?
It was within me, I believe, all along. I just needed to realize it. And also, like I said, just claim that direction. Growing up, I was always a deep thinker. I was always, like I said, kind of stood out because of my unique perspectives. I wanted to know, go to the source of things. Like I didn't want to know a little bit. I was the person like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I needed to go directly to this. I want to go in depth of this. And where people would take something and run off with, I'll be like, no, let's go deeper off into it. So I already had that mindset in the sense of growing up, and I really locked into it these past maybe 5 years. And then so now when I'm getting clear on things, the direction I want to go, I'm sharing these things online, and then I started connecting with people that was resonating with my messages. Some of them happen to be coaches, like I said, in the Napoleon Hill Institute, or coaches that's in other mastermind programs that's helping people elevate and evolve. So me just being my authentic self, sharing messages through the digital space has also helped me connect more with like-minded people. People say, you know what, I resonate with your messages. I like the direction that you're going. Hey, you should be a part of this group, study this. So that's kind of how more things start unfolding.
Okay. Now, what was the first thing that you created that you said, okay, this is what I'm either going to sell online or, do as a business?
I was helping my mom, generate passive income. So we was doing like the self-help journals on Amazon and also the designs on Etsy. And like I said, that was kind of like a good amount of start of just helping build on stuff. I started my own thing with Society 6,
Mhm.
and that was like the first one. And I was printing a lot of my designs because I create so many designs on there. And I was like, you know what? I really see this. I have my designs as posters, phone cases, inspirational graphic designs where people can have it, whether it was stickers, whether it was cards, whether it was, like I said, phone cases, posters. You got it. Abundance
Mine
flowing.
right
That's one
here,
of
one
my
of my
designs.
Erin original designs that I absolutely love. What is it called? Infinite abundance? No, what is it called?
It's called
Abundance.
abundance flowing.
Oh yeah,
Yes,
abundance flowing.
abundance
Yeah,
flowing.
I
And
love it.
so, at that time, I'm really, really consistent now in designing because I have so many designs on my file. So when I started my page on Society 6, just start releasing a lot, releasing a lot, releasing a lot, showcasing it to people, showing people, like I said, the inspiration behind the designs as well. because I always tell people every design carries a powerful message.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people, when they look at my designs, they would just be in shock or in awe because it was original, and they felt like a connection to it, and they was like, I like the designs that you show me. It's, it reminds me of this, or reminds me of joy, it reminds me of peace, or something like that. So that's kind of how it really started. Now, I have my designs on Pixels. Started my clothing Infinite Abundance, which is on Lee Galleries, and like I said, it's been great.
Awesome. I love it. And so, did you ever work like the typical 9 to 5, or did you always know you wanted to be an entrepreneur?
That's a great question. So growing up, I just wanted to live a fulfilling life. I didn't never vision myself being in a position where I wouldn't be satisfied with what I'm doing. So, entrepreneurship in a sense automatically came to me. I never have done a 9 to 5 job, but it just, like I said, just me following my own path, and that's where it just led me to.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's great. Great. Because I mean, a lot of people, they'll start at 16 or 17, working at, I don't know, McDonald's or, some, smaller job while they're in school or something to that effect. But it sounds like within you, and probably even with your mom being somebody who wanted to do something digitally and sell something online and all of that, and you assisting her with that, it kind of opens up different doors when you think of things differently than the typical way that people get started with, okay, let me go get this little job and then start working from there.
Right, and everyone's path, everyone's story is different. Everyone is doing their best to provide for themselves, provide for their loved ones. So, like I said, just depend on the route, but just have the mindset to keep growing, keep elevating, being resourceful. You have to be willing to learn, and that's the same thing. Even if you're not in the entrepreneur journey, right? You still have to find a sense of believing in yourself, knowing that there is more, knowing that there's greater opportunity that you can tap into, not in an egoic way, but because we are all magnificent creative beings.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, great. And so now you have a podcast as well, as we mentioned, for us to elevate.
Yeah.
And so, what made you decide to go down the path of being a creator of a podcast and hosting that?
So I kind of start entertaining the idea of creating my own podcast probably around mid 2023,
Okay.
somewhere around there. So long story short, in December, I had an opportunity to be on the podcast, um, which is oh my gosh, I cannot forget the name of that podcast. It's Caroline Basalski's podcast,
Mm,
Inspired. Yes, Inspired podcast, and I knew her because she was one of the master coaches in the Napoleon Hill Institute at that time, and so or actually, she, like I said, I think left not too long ago after that. And like I said, she has an amazing mastermind group herself. That was my first time actually participating in a podcast. Episode was great. Like I said, we had great topics and discussions. And she, after like the podcast, she talked about me doing my podcast, which I already thought about. And I said, you know what, I can see myself doing that. So 2024. Um, we were message on and off. And one day she was like, when are you gonna do it? And I was like, I'm going to. And she was like, there is no time. Only time is now. You're always present. So choose what you're gonna do in the present moment. I said, you know what, that's right. And so I've been saying it, and I just finally committed to it. I said, let me just go ahead and do it. This is something I did say I wanted to do, and key word for me was elevate in 2024. I thought about how can I elevate greater than I did the year before. And so when I started, researching how to set up a podcast and stuff, I thought about the name. I knew the name was going to be Elevate, but I thought about my audience too. And that's when I came up with the name for us to elevate because I want everyone to elevate through the power of having authentic conversation.
love it.
I started from being, I want to say it was like early July of last year, and
Okay.
I started being consistent with it. Had amazing guests, like I said, you were one of my amazing guests that's been on that podcast. And it's been amazing. Like I said, I've attracted a lot of opportunities just through that podcast, meeting other top podcasters. And recently, it was featured in an article by an Emmy Award-winning media advisor, Vinny Potestivo.
Yes, absolutely. And I saw that article, and I mean, just amazing that you have just doing what you, like you said, just being your authentic self and doing what, at first you were like, I don't know if I'm going to do this podcast, then having that little nudge and that little push. And sometimes there are just people in our lives who show up, and even if it's just for a season, they're the ones who are going to help us to step into the next level of our lives. And then they could be gone. Like you were like, oh, what's the name of that podcast? So it's just, it was that one moment in time that ended up spilling over into you having your own podcast and being able to elevate others, which is awesome.
Right, and that's what it's all about. You just have to take what's given to you as well. Like there's a lot of knowledge, but we got to make sure that we're applying it and also seeing what we can build on as well. And one of my quotes that I share with people is consistency turns into momentum and momentum turns into rhythm. Whatever you're consistent in, that's what you're going to build momentum towards. And what you build momentum towards, that's the rhythm that you're going to be
Yes, exactly. And that's the thing too, because a lot of people don't do things on a consistent basis. Like maybe for their job, they're consistent, but then when it comes to things that they want to do for themselves, that's where the inconsistency comes into play. And so I know for me personally, as I look at different people that I coach, one of the biggest things that they need support with is consistency, discipline, and procrastination. Like those are some of the things that people just really kind of, hold back and don't feel like they can give 100% to. But I will say, just from me knowing about you and your journey on, because, we met on TikTok, and I will say you are extremely consistent on there in regards to always showing up, always engaging. And it could be 40, 50, 100 people in a room. It could be zero people in a room. You're just going to continue to do what you do, and I
in. Right.
just feel like that is amazing. And so talk a little bit about that part, about the consistency that you bring to the table, and how do you are there ever times, maybe I'll ask it this way, are there ever times where you're like, I don't feel like it, so I'm just not going to do it? Or do you push yourself through it? Like how does that work for you?
A lot of my decisions are intuitive based, and I learn to tap into myself, listen to my intuition more. I'm really good at self awareness because I'm willing to do that as well. Um, Consistency shows people that you're dedicated, that you're serious. People might not take you serious at first, but through consistency, people want to start looking like, okay, I kind of respect what you're doing. Even though I laughed or even though I didn't believe, but you're doing this and you're not seeking my external validation. So for me, just building that self confidence and just not being easily swayed too. Consistency plays a huge role, especially if I'm for me building my brand and stuff. Gotta
Mhm.
be consistent because they're gonna look like, okay, are you taking yourself serious?
Right. How can I take you
Right.
serious if you're not taking yourself serious?
Right. With consistency, and I like that you talked about consistency because we gotta look at what are we committed to. And it starts with a self belief. So you might be good at committing to something else, but not committed to prioritizing yourself, prioritizing not, your mental health, well being, or etc. So we also have to look at the reason why we're consistent in something else rather than the stuff that we want to be really comes down to belief and how I view myself, how I view the world, etc. And so I say, you know what, because I don't probably believe in myself that much, I'm not going to be consistent in, fitness or just feeding my mind the right things or whatever that is. But I can be consistent in probably, like I said, working all these hours or showing up for another person, but just not showing up for myself. So we got to look at, okay, if I want to be consistent in such and such, let me start within myself. Where is the point where I'm not accepting this or allowing this? So
Mm,
that's one of the things that you have to reflect. And when you reflect daily, I think that's really great. So I always talk about self awareness a lot. You do as well. And so, once again, I would just want to be consistent. Okay, and what do you have control over? And just start from there.
yeah.
Start being consistent. And then I'll start looking like, if I'm not consistent this or that, is it 100% in my control? If it is, I can't blame nobody. I can't, just look at the world and say, oh, this. No. And plus, who wants to be in that mindset and just putting the energy out? That's just draining. So I say, you know what? I show up as the person that I want to be as well, because it is up to me to do that.
Mm-hmm. 100%. Yeah. Sometimes you have to show up as that future version of yourself just so that you can build your own belief within yourself that that is who you're becoming. Because a lot of times I think people are so focused on, just that negative self-talk that can kind of come in as well, like, oh, I can't do this. Who am I to think that I could teach somebody this, or I could create this book and put it on Amazon, or I could make this poetry and people will like it, or whatever it is, that
Right.
there's so much that people will just talk themselves out of as opposed to stepping into. And sometimes we just have to step into that future version of ourselves and not necessarily fake it till you make it, but just step into who it is that you already know you are. It's just that, the mentality of who
Right.
you are hasn't quite lined up with who you already know you are.
And I like the way that you put those words together, because for the longest time we heard fake it till you make it. But then it's like, wait a minute, who are you truly actually? The reason why you have that desire is because what if that is you? You here to live an extraordinary life. You can do
Mhm.
amazing things. So actually, you're releasing what's not you, and you're just coming into what's truly you. So if we change our mindset towards that, then it'll be like, okay, now I'm not putting so many things on a pedestal above me. I'm actually making it level ground, and
Right.
I'm willing, and that will also help me take more steps without being discouraged as well, or saying, oh, it's going to take so long for me to achieve this. You're just going to, be consistent. And then next thing you
Mhm.
know, you didn't check off more goals than you thought you would.
Yeah, 100%. No, I love that. See what I'm saying, y'all? So wise, Aaron, I tell you. So, now when it comes to poetry, so that is a shift because, a lot of things, it's show me the shift. So a lot of things on this, podcast, or as we talk about, it's entrepreneurial, it's about, business things. And when you talked about, okay, Amazon and graphic design, and even we'll get into your clothing line in a little bit, but for poetry, that's like a different shift. That's a whole different kind of thing outside of, like almost like some of it is so like cognitive in regards to creativeness. But then there's a creativeness with poetry too. So I get that. But like walk us through how you decided, oh, poetry is something I really want to get into. Or was it natural, or did you just think, let me try it, my hand at it?
So I was into poetry, I want to say third, fourth grade.
Okay.
I just liked the style of it. It was very unique and different. Um, and I wrote a little bit of poetry, and then I stopped.
Okay.
And it wasn't until maybe 2022 that I started back writing poetry. Writing is a good emotional release. So during this time, I'm writing my goals. I'm learning like, okay, how can I build this, build this brand, etc. And like I said, I'm now really into personal development. I'm locked in. I'm learning, I'm gathering all this information, and I say, you know what? What's something that my younger self would enjoy doing? So once again, finding your true purpose, finding what aligns authenticity. I was like, I haven't did poetry, and I said poetry would be a great way because I already have a unique perspective that jumps out to people in a good way. And then also, it was a good emotional release for me, so I can put a lot of my thoughts, my ideas into writing, but also share stories of personal development, mindset, struggle, inner dialogue. but I also have a victory also in my poem. So then I start writing them. I really didn't start sharing my poems probably till maybe 2024, maybe. And I was actually doing those through TikTok. Then I started doing those through other platforms, and people was like, "This resonates with me." Like your poem, like it's saying the same things that I either was going through or things that I have learned. And a lot of people start thanking me like, man, this helped me gain clarity on this. This helped me get out of a dark mindset. And so then I was like, okay, let me just continue to share this. But I was already had the mindset of being consistent, sharing my poetry. Along the way, many, many people would thank me and say, you know what, this is amazing. I like to hear more of it. And also along the way, I've been connected with a lot of multi-talented people, including poets, and I ended up designing for a poet. Her name is the Poet Bam. And it was this year, it was a poster and it was a love battle. And that was, like I said, a powerful poem that ended up being in an art gallery in Colorado, which was amazing to see.
That's awesome. So what did you do for her? You designed what for her exactly?
It was a poster.
Oh,
So
the poster that ended up being,
yeah,
oh, awesome.
yeah, I designed it digitally. Sent the file to her. Then they actually had the physical one, like I said, shipped off, and then
Mhm.
it was in an art gallery in Colorado. So that was really cool to see. And then, like I said, with my design skills, plus also being a poet myself, I could kind of add those unique elements, and we did it within a day too. It was really quick. And she was like, wow, I like this. I added like gold hearts, but it was kind of not like shattered, but it was like coming together in a sense.
Mm,
And so, like I said, it's been amazing connecting with many amazing poets and a lot of poets that I've connected with, then sharing their stories of what they went through when they grew up, or like I said, the environment. So poetry can really heal a lot of people just through the power of the spoken word, and just people resonate with the messages. So for me, it's great to hear that a lot of people resonate with my poems. And like I said, it just started with me saying, let me start doing this again, and wanted to share that struggle isn't the whole story. And that's my main purpose of my poetry that I share.
right. No, I love it. I have been in some of your environments in which you have done poetry, and I'm like, woohoo, because I don't know if I can do the clicks, as they do when you go to a poetry jam. But yeah, but no, they're really amazing. I don't know if you'll want to share some with us on the podcast today or not, but if you did have some, we'd be more than willing to hear some of your poetry.
You know what? Oh, I think I got some poems that I can
Yeah, I know I'm
share
putting you on the
actually.
spot because we did not talk about you doing any poetry during the podcast, but I think it'd be great to give people the experience of your poetry since we spent some time talking about it.
No, it's amazing. I said, let me have my papers of poems ready just in
Yes.
case. So I actually did. So this one is called A New Journey Has Begun.
Okay.
A new journey has begun. The storm has passed, and now here's the sun. Reflecting for a bit, seeing the battle I've won. I'm ready for the next chapter, a new story to be sung. Steadily advancing and evolving, I've become better in a lot of things, including problem solving. Plus, I'm getting clear on what my mission is, or should I say calling. Before the call, the answer is there, ready for me to become more aware. I'm seeing more of the signs, I'm connecting the dots and seeing how everything aligns. Things feel different this time. It truly does this time.
I love it. I love it. I wish I had hand clapping on here. I don't have hand clapping on this app, but no, that's great. And so I know one of the things that you spoke to in there that resonated with me was the part about you talking about, or is it like, or should I say calling? Because that's one of the things that I'm really big on is helping people to find their calling and to move in their calling because it's in you for a reason, which is another thing that you mentioned earlier. Like I said, you've been dropping gems, but that what you have and what you desire is in you for a reason. And you've even mentioned that a lot of the things that you love to do now are things that were in you from when you were a child, when you were younger.
Right.
And so all of that is like kind of coming full circle, even with the poetry. So that's awesome. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. So yeah. So and then you've actually also started getting into clothing design with your
Yes.
Infinite Abundance line. And so talk a little bit about that. Oh, you have some awesome to show. Excellent.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you can see it, but this is one of my shirts called Connected to the Source.
Love it. Yep.
Yes, so I've visioned doing fashion for actually a while now. And I remember creating like designs a couple years ago, um, called Infinite Abundance. And I said if I was to ever, like I said, do fashion, I would have this as like my logo, my post, etc. And I started saying, you know what, I would have like clothing that represents unity, abundance, confidence. People will wear the clothing and feel confident in it. It's be the messages that I add in the clothing. And so I started that actually just actually a few months back, a
Hmm.
couple months back this year. And it was amazing because I started looking into different sites for apparel, and I kind of stopped actually. And I was going to, research again. And I started seeing all these advertisements of a company called Lee Galleries on Facebook, I think on Instagram. And what caught my eyes, they said you could turn your art into clothing. And I said,
Uh,
what? I said, but this is what really got me. It's not just like it can be in the middle of the shirt, it can cover the whole clothing. And I
hmm.
wanted my designs, all my details to be all over the clothing, front and back. And so I did some research and then I took inspired action. And it was very easy, like I said, to register. And I said, you know what? Okay, let me take my inspirational graphic designs and let me make them into clothing now, for men and women. And I started being consistent in that. It was published like a month and a half after, and it's been great. Like I think I now have probably like over 100 designs, and I just started, like I said, a couple months ago, and I'm excited. So I have designs like Thrive, where the man is having a bow and arrow with the woman. I think you've seen that one
Hmm.
before
I
with
have.
the gold all around. So, like I said, all these designs carries a powerful message, and people see that through my clothing, unique, original, and it's very uplifting as well. So I'm very glad to tap into the fashion, and like I said, I gotta order some more myself and promote these. Company is really cool and great. They've been following me also on social media, supporting me. So it's just been great to see. And I definitely have a vision for fashion, and I'm just gonna keep building on here. And so that's just another way of me expressing my authenticity, and
Yeah,
just also, like I said, helping other people as well.
I love it. And so that's such a great story of like stumbling upon something. It feels like you're stumbling upon something, but the reality is you were meant to see it. Whether you took
Right.
action on it or not, it was going to be up to you, but you were meant to see that. And I think a lot of times somebody who's watching might realize, like, wait, I saw some things popped up on my Facebook feed, but I ignored it, or I acted like it wasn't for me, or I wasn't ready to take the action, or I was scared, or whatever the case may be. And you telling that might help them to see, oh, the next time something pops up and it resonates with me, maybe that is the thing I'm supposed to take action with. Maybe that's the thing I should research and look into, because you could have just as easily seen that and said, oh, how to put your art basically on clothing. And you're just like, okay, and kept it moving, but you didn't. You took that inspired action, as you mentioned.
Yes, and because I was already looking for it, and then
Yes.
I just knew it was like a sign in a sense, and we have to say yes to things that align with our true self, and also say no to things that don't align with our true self. And that's one of the ways that we can continue to elevate in our life.
100%. Yes. Yeah. That's why one of the things I'm always telling people is don't make somebody else's emergency your emergency. Like, don't focus on everything else for everybody else so much that you lose yourself in the process and what are your true goals and things that you want to accomplish and get done. And so, like you said, if it's something that's in alignment, it might be scary. It's going to be out of your comfort zone 99% of the time. And but
Yeah,
you have to say yes to it. Like if you don't say yes to those things that make you uncomfortable, then like you're going to continue to get what you've always gotten and you're going to continue to attract what you've always attracted. So we have to do things differently to get a different result.
true. And this can help with people that deal with procrastinating a lot.
Yeah.
And I use this example of a video game. If you don't press the start button, how can you advance to the next level? You first have to press the start button to play the video game
You got to play
to
it. You got to
advance
be
to
in
the
the game.
level. Exactly. So when I share with that with people, it kind of helps them, overcome that procrastination and be like, you know what, that's right. If you don't start, you won't know. If you start, you will grow.
Yeah. See, I'm telling y'all, Aaron always has the gems. Trust and believe. I've been in more than probably 50 conversations with Aaron, and he always has the gems, which I absolutely love. And so now, what have you learned about yourself through your journey of being a business owner? Because that's what you do. Like you're a business owner, you have multiple areas of business, but what have you learned about yourself?
Um, that there's always going to be wonderful ideas that I have. It's just up to me to choose. Am I going to take action on this? I also learned the power of being decisive. Which has cleared a lot of things in my life. You gotta be direct and straight to the point. It starts with yourself. You gotta build that communication with yourself. You will build better communication with other people. And that's something
Mhm.
that I learned as well. Like if I expect other people, to have confidence in me, I gotta be confident in myself. So it's more about doing the inner work and then seeing it reflect out.
Love it. Love it. Okay. Excellent. Excellent. And so when it comes to your designs, whether it's graphic or designs for your clothing line, where do you get the inspiration from? I know you talked about the different things that you want and that you wanted to inspire, but like where does that come from? And what things are you like, nah, that doesn't deserve to be on here. I'm gonna scrap that idea. But this I'm going to develop and keep massaging because I've heard you say that before where you're like I'm still working on it, I'm still
Yeah.
making it look the way that you envision it in your head, but like where does that come from? Because I don't feel as though I'm as creative. I won't say I'm not creative because I don't want to say that, because then you're like putting that in the universe, but I'll just say
Yeah.
I'm not as creative, so I'd love to know where that creativity comes from.
I just have a unique um, perspective when it comes to designs and how to align images. It starts with consistency too. So my graphic design skills have advanced over time as well. I've been consistently designing, I want to say about 4 or 5 years now, 4 or 5 years now. So I've been building that consistency. And if you keep practicing and doing the work, you're going to be more confident in the work that you're doing as well. It's just like if you're playing sports, right? You play it year one, year two, year three, you're gonna get more advanced, especially depending on how much you commit to the game. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the thing. I'm committed to being a high level graphic designer. That means I have to commit to having a high level of awareness. That means I have to commit to a high level of studying. And so with designing, you have to be able to look at things in a different way. Don't be afraid to mix things up a little bit. And that's the thing about, I started tying designing into personal development because I said, wait a minute. In designing, it starts with a vision. It starts with you adding elements. Sometimes you got to delete an element.
Mm-hmm.
You redesign what's not aligned. And that's what they teach in personal development. Have a vision. If something's not aligned, redesign it. Create a new plan, a new blueprint. That's how I start realizing personal development and designing pretty much go hand in hand when you really think about it. And we're using these skills in everyday life. So we're all designing our life. It just,
Mm-hmm.
are we intentional with what we're designing? So going back to your question, when it comes to designing, I can design a variety of styles: urban, retro, vintage. You can say I'm talented at it naturally, but just once again, consistency, building, learning, watching tutorials of how other graphic designers see how they create their designs, but also just like I said, adding my own spin to it.
Hmm.
So one day I might be thinking about nature. I might just have it depend on mood as well. So I might be this month, I might be focusing on resetting, recharging. I might focus more on meditation. Now you're going to start seeing that more in my clothing designs. So you might see a design with maybe prayer hands with gold coming from the hand or
Mm.
something like that. In the sense you get,
Yeah.
and so what my prayer hands would represent faith, and the gold that will be coming out the hands would be the faith coming from the power of that person within. So I
Mm.
would tie that into my clothing or graphic designs in a sense, and then that's how I come up with the inspiration. So it's things that I'm constantly learning, my outlook on life, and then I start creating that in my designs, and then I say, okay, does this align, and just use my skills. That's how I build from there.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, that's definitely an insight into the creative process, and I loved how you said designing your life. I mean, what are you designing? Because I think that there are a
Right,
lot of people who don't. Maybe it's just not as focused on self-development and self-awareness, but may not be realizing like, wait, if I'm living in a life that is not feeling that I don't feel joy, I don't feel happiness, abundance, that I'm always in this scarcity and lack mentality. I get to design how my life
right.
goes and being able to change that.
So that was one of the realizations that I came to. And then I said, okay, let me use the skills that I'm using in my graphic design to my personal life. Now this gets a
Mhm.
little bit more interesting. And you can even hear other people do that. You can do something in one area and it's working. Let me apply to other areas. So it could be like the in a sense karate, a kid, the Mr. Miyagi thing
Yeah,
teaching and stuff.
yeah,
So you start thinking like, wait a minute, if it works for this part, let me use it in other areas of my life. And so that was just for me, okay, I'm already designed. Let me design my thoughts, my words, my actions, so that
right.
I can live a wonderful image in my life and
Excellent.
help others do the same as well.
Exactly, exactly. Do you teach any classes in regards to design at all? If anybody listening is like, "Oh, I wanna learn from somebody like Aaron," as opposed to just being able to purchase the things that you put
I
out there.
do get out with I do give tutorials. Usually when I am live streaming, sometimes it can be IG, TikTok. So usually you will see me do that on there. I'm thinking about setting up a course where I teach people, but I do give a lot of valuable information out to people that looking to learn more about design, even my clients as well. Because
Mhm,
some of
yeah,
my clients, wants to tap into somewhat of the design aspect or, learn how to, either just even set up simple things, probably not just even doing the very advanced things. So even with some of my clients, I've helped them gain some design skills.
okay, excellent, excellent. Oh, that's great, and that is beneficial too, and so that's the kinda reason that I asked if it was something I hadn't heard you mention that you were doing any kind of courses or classes or anything, but just wondering, but that kinda comes to the next question, like, what is the next step for you? What does that look like for Aaron? Like, anything else on the
Um,
horizon, any other areas you're looking to go into, or just things that you just know you're developing even more in regards to your skills?
Yeah, so I'm going to focus a lot more on the Vitality because I am an affiliate for their amazing program, Master Your Mind. So getting more people aware to an amazing group of people, because a lot of people struggle to find amazing communities. So within that community, you find people that will support you. people that's sharing true valuable information of how to overcome those negative, in a sense, strongholds and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. So, like I said, a lot of valuable information, people that have went above fear, above challenges. So, just making more people aware of that in that coaching group, which is amazing. Continue to build on my clothing, infinite abundance, my designs on pixels. So, building the stuff that I already have, I'm looking forward to potentially publishing a poetry book as well. I already had a poem that's in a book called Your Happiness Matters Volume 3, which
Okay.
was released about a month and a half ago. The creator of that is Sabine Man, and it's with other authors as well. So that was really cool to know that my poem, is in a book where, people can see that. That's really the direction that I'm going, building on the stuff that I already am, getting more people, like I said, connected to more amazing people and also, like I said, building on my podcast as well. I'm looking forward to having more amazing guests. And so that's where the direction that I'm going.
Okay. Now, if people want to listen to your podcast, how can they find that?
Right now, it is available on Spotify. So I have seven, 19 episodes
Okay.
where people can check that out. I'm being consistent on that because started building consistency, stopped a little bit, building it back more now. And I got some people that's also excited about my podcast. Probably some social media influencers and some other people going to share their stories as well. So I'm looking forward to that. And like I said, a lot of things are aligning. It's just me once again building clarity. I made a post about this actually a couple of days ago. Visualize, design, act. So that's one of the
Mm,
things that I'm working on. Visualize, design, act. Know where you want to go, create the blueprint, take actions from there. And so that's what I'm really, really focusing on.
I love it. I'm going to take that advice myself. So thank you. All right, great. And then if people want to find you on socials, where can they find you? Like, what's your handle?
So I have so cool underscore 100. That's with three O's on the cool part. That's my Instagram. My other Instagram is Cool Abundance. On TikTok, I am Cool Aaron for those that know, and Facebook, Aaron Smith. So those are some of the sites that people can see me on. Also LinkedIn, same thing, Aaron Smith.
Aaron
And
Smith.
like I said, y'all see inspirational quotes, sometimes poetry, sometimes my design. So just, mixing it up and just doing a lot of creative things. And that's the fun thing about designing your life. You realize that you're not limited in your creativity.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. So awesome. Awesome. Now, a few more questions and then I'll let you go. But in regards to, there's some people who are out here who, are thinking about, do I really want to step out on faith? Do I really want to do that thing that I feel as though I'm called to do, but I don't know if I really am ready to step out of my comfort zone that far and go in that direction. What advice would you give to somebody who is on the fence about should I go down this path and maybe start making my own digital products or start doing some affiliate marketing or start doing just getting a ball rolling? Or should I just kind of stay complacent with where I am? What would you give them as advice?
Look at, create a visual in your mind of if you did it and if you don't. And ask yourself, which one would I be at peace with? If I don't do this, I have to be at peace with that decision.
Yeah.
If I do this, I would have to be at peace with that decision. Which one would actually lead to fulfillment? Imagine a life where you don't, imagine a life where you do. That's all you gotta do. Say which one is worth it.
Yes, I love that. And that is so true. Like, what is worth it? How bad do you want it? That's the thing I always say. If there is a desire within you, how bad do you want that desire? Do you want it bad enough where you're going to put some action behind it? Or do you just like, I would do it, but it's going to be too hard. I'm not
And
ready. It's going to be too tough.
and if the person has done this, look at the times where you chose not to do something that you
Mm,
felt called to do. and see, did it lead to regret? And then look at the times where you actually did decide to commit to what you felt called to do and see the results that you got from that. So this
Yes.
is where you can use past experiences to reflect on and help you as well.
Love it. Love it. All right. So, are there any things that you would want to share with the listeners before we go about any projects you're working on, any products, any services, any ways in which they can find you, maybe your clothing line, things like that, that you want to just make sure that you share so that people
So if
know?
y'all want to check out a collection of the self-help journals, the clothing Infinite Abundance, my designs on pencils, which is available as posters, phone cases, yoga mats, etc. I have all those in one link, and it's coolway3.card.co. So if anyone wants to check that out, it's coolway3.card with two R's
Oh,
dot
CARRD
co.
dot.
Yes,
Oh, okay. Got it.
coolway3.card with two R's dot co. And so the first link, my apparel, Infinite Abundance. Second link is my designs on pixels, where I have my designs in a variety, once again, phone cases, wall art, portable chargers, actually,
Wow.
mugs. I got, like I said, a variety. The link after that, that's the Amazon people. Like I said, I have a lot of self-help journals like alignment. That's also a pinned video on my TikTok. I had an amazing digital marketer that supported, my journals, and she did a review on that. And so people can check that video out on TikTok as well because that's one of my pinned videos. So I have over about 60 to 66 journals on there. And if
Mm,
people want to contact me for work, I also am on Upwork, or they can DM me as well. So I do have the Upwork link where people can hire me as a designer to design for them, or like I said, once again, DM. So those are some of the ways that they can, like I said, support the work that I'm doing and also collab as well.
I love that. Yeah, it's like a lot of different options. So anybody that is interested in connecting with Cool Aaron, by all means, you have all the ways that you can go about finding out about him and being a part of the podcast, the fashion, the poetry, the Amazon books. Like he's just a plethora of amazing things that he is sharing his creativity with us, which is a blessing. So thank you so much for sharing all those different ways that people can connect with you and engage with you. And so I can't believe we're almost at an hour. Like it just went way too
That was
fast.
quick. That was
It's gone
quick.
so fast, but I love it. I love it because it's such great information and it's so engaging. And you're just, like I said, dropping gems back to back to back, which is amazing. And so I will just say that is there anything that you would give as that last piece of advice to somebody who just is listening and you're just like, look, regardless of what's going on, whether you feel like you have a purpose or a vision, whether you feel like, and I know you just gave a gem in regards to just, what if you do and what if you don't, but any other gems that you want to share before I let you go, and then we'll wrap up.
Realize that your peace is your power. Having peace equals a wonderful life. Just like I said, do the right things, treat people with respect, and also the good seeds that you have planted, the work that you're doing behind the scenes is not going overlooked. And
Mm,
just because your act of kindness might not seem like someone accepted it, doesn't mean that that seed was wasted. So that's another thing. Release what needs to go so that you can truly grow. That's one of the things that I have to work on as well. And just know
that's
that you're here to
powerful.
live yeah, just know that you're here to live an extraordinary life. Carry that belief system. Choose to show up each day in a wonderful way. You never know who's looking up to you as inspiration. You can be the reason why someone never gave up. You can be the reason why someone kept having faith. Those that were looking down will look up with faith being poured back into their cup. The last part,
I love it.
you can be the key to someone that feels locked. And that can even be yourself. So realize that greatness is within you and express it.
Wait, 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 wait. You got to say that last one about the key again. What is that now? Say that one again. Because I'm telling y'all,
You,
he's always dropping gems. Say that one again.
you
Because it
can,
almost went over my
you,
head. I got it at the end, but it almost went over my head.
you can be the key to someone that feels lost, and that can even be yourself.
Love it. Love it. Yeah. Yeah. There were, oh my gosh, there were so many gems in that. Oh my goodness. So, yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Like I said, I wish I had an applause, but I appreciate you so much, Aaron, for talking and
Thank
sharing
you.
and being so open and just authentic as always in regards to sharing about yourself, your journey of entrepreneurship, your journey of self discovery, and just being the amazing, wonderful person that you are. So thank you, thank you, thank you for being a part. I'm gonna have to figure out how to get a sound on here that I can download of a hand clap. But I appreciate you so much. And for those of you who want to connect with Aaron, he's given you every way possible that you can connect with him. And both of us are actually a part of the Victorious Movement community. So just to let you all know that this is my shameless plug, but this is just a great insight in regards to how I, as a life coach, pour into the community in regards to things like mastering your mindset, developing and discovering your purpose, setting goals, and just being in the mindset of abundance instead of lack and scarcity. And as you could see here with the conversation that Aaron and I had, those are the types of things that we cover within the community, which is amazing. And so I just wanted to share this so that you all could download with the QR code and just see a little bit inside the community. So on that note, thank you, Aaron. I appreciate you. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Let me put on my outro music here so that way everybody, you are appreciated. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Glad to be on.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.